Miguel Show presents
Show Broke Ass
on Island 106.
Working and trying to make that money. You have to have a budget.
Show Broke Ass.
We are fixing your broke ass. I can't really reach the high point like normal right now. We have Dan Hinz. He is our financial coach and my own personal financial coach. How are you doing this morning, Dan?
I'm doing great, Miguel. How are you doing this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, we asked you, the Miguel Show family, to ask some questions of Dan, and we have one from a Miguel Show family member.
Yeah, Sasha asks, what's the difference between Chapter 13 and Chapter 7? And what amount of debt should one possibly think about filing for bankruptcy? So obviously her question is dealing with bankruptcy.
Yes, absolutely. And so I am not a bankruptcy lawyer, so the really fine details, be sure to talk to someone that actually practiced law in this area. But really, the difference between the two is Chapter 7, that's where you get to wipe the slate clean, is that you've got to sell off a lot of assets. You can keep your primary house, your primary residence, but you got to try to sell off everything, and then you get rid of your debt. Now, student loans, that's something that you can't really get rid of.
Forever and ever and ever.
So just because you want to go through bankruptcy, there's some still stuff you want to deal with. However, Chapter 13 is something more like where you have debt and you're in a rough spot, and you're okay with paying it back, but you've got to restructure. You got to do a different payment plan. That's what the difference between Chapter 13 and Chapter 7 is.
Okay.
Now, are those wise options to take, or is that the very absolute last thing that you could possibly do? You should go that route.
It is the absolutely very last thing. If you have to pick between homelessness and bankruptcy, pick bankruptcy, because you still can keep your house, you can still rebuild your life, but it's going to be on your credit score. So if you want to try to rent an apartment or try to get a car loan or a student loan or anything, people are going to know about it. And it's on that credit report from either 7 to 10 years. Ooh. So it's really not the best choice, but if it's like an ejector seat. If it's your last option, you got to take it.
Now, you have a free seminar that you're doing tonight. Now, what are you talking about during that?
Right. So since it's January, it's the beginning of the year, everyone's trying to get either physically fit or mentally fit or financially fit. So tonight, what we're talking about, it's only an hour and it's free, is we're talking about the first 3 steps you can take, which are you got to have a goal. Because when you start saying no to going out to eat, there's got to be something yes to say to. So that's why you want a goal. Then you want to start to talk about how to budget and create that plan to reach that goal. And then the third step is to start an emergency fund. How can I get that started? How much should I look for when I'm starting that emergency fund?
And how much should you have in your emergency fund?
Beginning, try to have $500 to $1,000, because that way a lot of families get in that credit card cycle where something happens and they don't have the cash, so they got to put it on a credit card. So having just a little bit setting aside, ready to go, it can be cash in your house, it can be just sitting in a bank account, but have that ready so you can stop that debt cycle.
Okay. And where is this happening tonight?
Sure. It's going to be at the Florida State campus in Panama City. So it's going to be in the Holly building. It's going to be room 305. If you forget any of that, you can go to my Facebook page and there's an event. It's free. Go ahead and sign up. So that's Dan Hinz Coaching on Facebook. Or if you don't use Facebook, on my website, fixingfamilyfinances.com, it has the information there too.
Well, that is very perfect. Well, Dan, he is fixing our broke asses. And if you ever have a question for Dan, you can always shoot me an email, and then we'll ask him next time we have him on. That's Miguel at island106.com. Dan, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.